Last week, AMD announced that the Ryzen 4000 series parts will not be supported on anything below a B550 and X570 motherboard, leaving most of us out in the cold. Cue the clickbait. So, I'm gonna be honest with you. I have never actually debated more to make a video. Honestly, I am very conflicted about this. In fact, I might be in a minority group amongst the builders who build with AMD. And that is because I bought X470 with the intent that I'd be able to upgrade. And I did. But I also didn't expect it to end as soon as it did. Realistically, I know that my community is very AMD leaning. We all pretty much are probably members of the r/AMD, or at least the PCMR subreddits. And I know a lot of you guys both love and are frustrated by AMD, and I know that this decision most likely bugs a lot of you. It bugs me. When I heard the announcement of this, I was like, really? You're just gonna cut off X470? X470, a chipset that probably can still support it just fine. X470, the same chipset that motherboard makers said that probably could run PCIe 4.0 just fine. X470, the one that didn't have any problems. And yeah, they just are cutting off the support. Like, it's just no longer going to be supported outside of, you know, feature updates and things of that nature. And I felt, you know, quite bummed and angry. And then I took a step back and I realized I'm an anomaly. I'm not the main consumer when it comes to PC tech. And that made me feel weird about this. Like, I, in this year alone, have built 3 Ryzen systems. One of them for Gamer Guts, one of them for Alice, and my own. I have upgraded my own from Ryzen 2000 to Ryzen 3000. I built Gamer Guts with a Ryzen 2000 series part, and Alice built hers with a 3000 series part with a 2000 series motherboard. All of these kind of fall into like the same category of people who are mostly affected by this. And yet, the weirdest part is if I ask Alice, if I ask Gamer Guts, if I ask Skylar, my roommate, when they want to upgrade, all of them say after 5 years. And it makes me really realize that upgrading every year is just a weird thing that I do. That I afford myself the ability to do. And I don't think I would do it if it weren't for YouTube, if it weren't for my obsessive need to always learn and change things with computers. If it weren't for my interest in specifically upgrading and changing hardware, I probably would not reevaluate my PC's performance every year like I do. Supernova is the first time I've built a PC that I literally cannot change anything about without actually having to do serious work. I built Supernova the way I did with the intent that I was going to leave it alone. And you know what I haven't done? I haven't stopped messing with it. I have literally upgraded the processor, added more RAM, changed the graphics card 3 times. And I'm realizing that I'm the crazy one. I get where all of you guys are coming from. Like, I would be pissed if I bought a B450 motherboard with the intent that I was gonna go from 3,000 to 4,000. I would be even more pissed if I bought my X470 motherboard with the same intention, but the only thing that would have prevented me from doing that was the fact that X470 dried up almost immediately, and now with B550 coming out, B450 is going away. And it's not gonna be as big of a problem after B550 comes out. But because we've gone most of this year with B450 motherboards, I think this is the biggest mess up in all of this. If we would have started the year with B550 motherboards, we would not be having this discussion. We would not be as frustrated because it makes sense. If AMD had literally cut support every generation, like if they had done, you know, okay, Ryzen 3000 came out, the X570 and B550 motherboards, they unfortunately can't handle it. We'll cut that off. And they actually had to work to make Ryzen 3000 work on those motherboards. But so if they had said that, like in this scenario, if they had said that, we would know then the next generation that would lose support would be the X470 and the B450. And if we knew that, then we wouldn't have like had in our minds, in our brains, that the 4000 series parts would work. I reported literally like 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago that there was a rumor that they were gonna be supported. And I was like, yeah, makes sense, total sense. But it doesn't. It really doesn't. From everything in my like actual engineering focused part of my brain, I know that things literally cannot last forever. I know that there is a finite amount of space for things to be upgraded and changed and tweaked. And I know from a programming perspective, the more code you add, the more problems you will have. And I know all of these things, and yet I still convince myself that X470 would be supported through the 4th generation, through 2020. And it's weird because the wording isn't wrong. AM4 is still technically supported through 2020. And that begs the question, like if I buy a B550 motherboard, does that mean that AM5 is literally gonna drop next year out in 2021? And then we get DDR5? Or does it mean that you know for a fact that you weren't going to be able to support all the chipsets, but you knew that the socket was going to stay the same? And realistically, like, let's think about how Ryzen is. Like, Ryzen went from pretty much the end of the pile driver architecture all the way to where we are now. We went from literally 4-core, 4 threads to 16 cores, 24 threads, and clock speeds and IPCs of quadruple what they were even on like Zen 1. Like Zen 2 was such a big step forward that makes the most sense to me on where they would cut things off. And they didn't. Which made me think that maybe, just maybe, they had some secret sauce going on underneath there and that it was just designed with the intention of being carried forward. And unfortunately, the cracks were there. The cracks are still there. They're plain as day. I'm currently using a 12-core processor and a motherboard that was never meant to do more than 8. Now, the motherboard was specially designed for overclocking, and because of that, it performs fine. But I have never seen it hit those targeted boost clocks. I have never, under this liquid cooling loop, seen it sustain those target boost clocks or come anywhere close. I've seen them hit the same boost clocks that the Ryzen 7 2700X hit, because that is what this motherboard was designed to do. But if those are the limitations that we were going in with it, it just needs to be more clear. We justifiably can be mad at AMD. But at the same time, The reason that I don't think it matters is because we're such a minority here. It's a very first world problem. How many people can afford to upgrade their processor every year? Granted, how many people can afford to upgrade their motherboard and their processor in a year? There are limitations. And I actually got done watching Gamers Nexus's video right after watching Hardware Unboxed's video, where Gamers Nexus addresses everything Hardware Unboxed said. And the thing about it is, there's probably some truth in all of this. There probably is a limitation that cannot be done, whether it's on the software development or the hardware development side. There is a chance that we do still end up seeing X470 and X570 boards getting long-term support that they wouldn't have seen from AMD proper. I mean, you have to remember, B550 motherboards accidentally had PCIe 4.0 turned on. Like, they just randomly had it happen and then they had to change it in order to turn it off. So I think that there is a chance that our B450 and X470 motherboards aren't really left in the dust. And I think with all of the outrage behind this and all of the anger that's being directed, we will definitely see some sort of an impact to this. It's like waking up from a dream almost. Like you go, AMD is very pro-consumer. It's like, I am what they care about. They're for the enthusiast. And then they do something like this and you're like, well, actually, I guess they're really not. I don't think this is about greed. I don't think that they're cutting off support because they want to just sell more chips. If they wanted to do that, the AF processors wouldn't exist. The AF processors are weird, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing like a Ryzen 2000 AF or even a 3000 AF that's based off the whatever nanometer process the 4000 is based off of. I will not be surprised if we see these things still. Like, I can't tell you what the future is going to hold, but I would not be surprised if there's still processors that come out for X470. And I would not be surprised if the road just doesn't end as abruptly as we think it will. We currently have no APUs planned for the next generation, and B550 doesn't even support the APUs, which is why they are selling the Ryzen 3s now all of a sudden. But still, point is, like, there's so much mess here. And part of it is marketing versus actual development. And I do know that it's a complicated mix of like development team, hey, we did achieve this, and the marketing team's like, oh, you mean 5 gigahertz all of a sudden? And it's just ugh. That is the best way to describe this feeling. So I want us to take a step back, and I want us to actually discuss it in the comment section below. What are you feeling right now? Are you like me and you bought a Ryzen 2000 series part and you upgraded and you kind of feel that your motherboard has kind of lived its life? Or are you somebody who just built one this year and you feel like there wasn't much life in your motherboard to begin with? Or are you one of those people who bought into Ryzen early and upgraded all the way through? Let me know. And I really just, let's try to be civilized in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I would say if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, but I don't know how much you can enjoy a video like this. So I'll see you guys in the next video.